the more people talk, the more our society is better. Today, I just wanted to discuss what's on my mind, and it's the issue of men and children. So Steve went into this show. Steve, I don't know if you know him or not. I knew him for the first time in Olga Obina's show, and says, I hate children. And I want us to have an honest discussion around it, because everything that ensued afterwards, I believe to a great extent is very, very like what we are as a society. The fact that we like to sweep things under the rug, the fact that we don't give people the right to be able to speak, the fact that we think everyone needs to be very linear in the way that they're thinking, and we need to be able to script everyone. So this guy goes on these shows and says, I hate children. That sparks backlash, as it has always been in our society, where everyone is very, very perfect. And so I started seeing social media reaction around what he said. And everyone was came together on one thing, that what he said was wrong. Even from the way the host reacted to what he says was wrong. And so there's a lot of people who give certain points that I want to have counterpoints around, because I am a believer of free speech. I believe the more people talk, the more our society is better. We are not better for not speaking up. We are not better for pretending and picking up beliefs that we truly don't believe in. We are not better for silencing people and making people feel they have to think a certain way. So a couple of things came up. One of the things that I've always seen and observed, and it's on by personal experiences, I've been around men who really, really, really like children. That's my dad and my husband now. But one of the things that I've realized and I've observed across time is that most men don't really like children. And that is cognizant of our culture, where you find that when a man gets into the room, children are out of that room. You find that men can barely change a diaper. They can barely hang out with children. And I'm talking like 1 year, 2 year, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. Maybe afterwards they get to now like them a bit. But then you observe it and you see it every day. And it's such a disservice for us not to want to talk about it. It's a reality that the culture that we have been raised in, I don't know whether it's just my culture, but I would only speak to things that I've seen and observed. You can clearly see that there's a difference between how women treat children and how men treat children. And so for me, for people to act surprised that a man has said that they hate children is hypocritical to me. But the second point to this is, why do we feel like people must think a certain way? Why do you feel that everyone must have the same beliefs? What has he done that has actually affected you in the way you live your life? Other than hate speech, I believe people need to be allowed to speak. Everyone must be given the ability to say what they think and not have to face backlash because of what they believe in or what they said. And that's where I have a very big problem with the discussion, because the discussion has left the point where we discuss issues to now attacking this man for saying what they believe in. It's not that if he didn't say it, he will believe it less. That's his belief. And I think a lot of people came to him and said, you need to apologize, you need to do these things. And I love what he did. He said, I will not come and pretend so that I get endorsements. I will not come and pretend so that I get to be liked and to be loved by my audience, which is what a lot of people came. I think one person came and said that from his comment, he'll begin to lose clients. He needs to protect his bag. What bag? I am sick of a society where we feel everything is about securing the bag. We think everything is about someone being fixed into a box so that they are appeal to the society. And that is one of the things that is wrong with our society. It's wrong when we believe that people must be able to think a certain way so that they are accepted and so that they are part of the society and so that we are able to be with them. It is fine to lose deals because he doesn't like, of course, like you can't bring a brand that is child friendly and child geared to him to be able to do an endorsement. Of course, you can't do that because you clearly know his views. But I would rather live with people that I know their views than people who pretend. And that's why we have politicians and you keep on regurgitating politicians that keep on doing these things to us because they tell us what we want to hear. And then we elect them based on what we wanted to hear, not necessarily what they will be doing. And so I think that part of our culture must change. It is okay to know people for who they are. It is okay to be able to believe people for what they say and their beliefs and what they think about. It is okay to be able to disagree with someone, but you cannot cancel someone because you disagree with them. Because when we lessen and lessen speech like that, we get to a point where everyone is a pretender and you don't get to know the real person because we believe that they have to present a certain way, and because the society has boxed them into thinking that that is the way that it should go, then they please people by doing it. And so I think we must give everyone a right to be real. I don't think this man killed anybody. I don't think this man deserves the kind of backlash that he's received. It is okay to say, I disagree with him. I like kids. It's okay for you to like kids. The fact that he hates them doesn't mean you need to be able to hate them too. That is his opinion. And I don't think at the end of the day, it changes anything about anyone else's personality, but that is who he is. And when people tell us who they are, we must be able to have it in our heads and in our minds and in our psyche to take them for who they are. I have seen so many women say they are childless. They don't want children. And the reason why they don't want children is varied. But that doesn't even matter. Like the fact that they don't want children, it's okay. They don't want children. There are people who really like children. There are people who really dislike children. And if you're honest, even the people who go online and bash him for saying these things are actually doing this in pretense because they would love to say some of these things. They don't have the guts to say them. And so if speech doesn't borderline hate, if speech is not affecting the way you're living and the way your way of life, I don't think it needs to be something that is controversial. I don't think it's something that someone needs to be cancelled for. So give this guy a break. He said what he believes, and you are free to believe what you believe. The fact that we are so obsessed as a culture with protecting the bag to an extent that you don't want people to say what they really feel because you feel that they should not say it is just wrong. You might disagree. It wasn't necessary, for example, but he said what he said and he believes for him it was necessary. I'm not really a fan of the culture where people feel they need to police other people. Live and let other people live. If you don't agree with something, move on. If you agree with it, that's okay. But let's not threaten people into submission. Let's not beat people up into a box because not everyone was made or was created to be in a box. There are people who will always start conversations, and I'm glad he has started that conversation. And maybe we need to be ready to have discussions around relationship between men and children and where that comes from, because I have observed it over and over and over again. And I think it's a discussion that we must have. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, click onto the other ones. There's fantastic content around my opinion, but also issues around mental health, girls and women empowerment, money, and everything that women care about. So if you like this video, click onto the next one, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Thanks and bye.